10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello, my friends, and thank you so much for joining me today. It is Monday, March 11th, 2024, and I come to you with breaking news from Suffolk County, Long Island, New York, in the Babylon body parts case, or as I am now calling it, the Amityville butchers case. For those of you who were with me yesterday on my members only live, you know that I was in court on Friday when two of the defendants appeared. And I was in court again this morning when the other two defendants appeared. And if you were watching News 12 earlier today to try and get some information on this, they were playing the same loop over and over, as they tend to do. And they told you that the two defendants today did not appear in court. And I am here to tell you that is not true. They did appear in court. Steven Brown, 44, and Amanda Wallace, age 40, did appear in court today with their attorneys. They were supposed to appear around 9:30. They did not show up until around 11:15. Steven Brown's attorney was there before he was and went back behind stage, I want to say. No, went back in chambers, spoke to the judge and the clerk, worked some things out, and perhaps they put it over until second call, and he finally did show up around 10 after 11. And I'm going to tell you all about that and about the family members that were also in the courtroom of one of the victims. And I'm also going to tell you who the victims are. But before we do that, I'm excited to announce to you today that we have a sponsor. I have a sponsor, and I am going to introduce you to the sponsor now so that a lot of you can come in and catch up. And I'm going to play my little spiel here for you. So give me a second so that I can introduce you to our sponsor. I've also linked the sponsor below. To online crime. I'm going to rewind this a little second because it's our first time out. Did you know that the odds of falling victim to online crime are 1 in 4? Online crime is soaring. It's time to get smart about online safety. That's why I've been using Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura provides everything you need to protect your privacy, identity, finances, and your family in one easy-to-use app. Do you even realize how much of your personal information is already out there, being sold by data brokers to scammers, spammers, and anyone else who may want to target you? Well, if you Google yourself, you may find something like this. And it may shock you to know that your full name, home address, email address, health records, and even relatives, it's all out there. That's one of the reasons you need Aura. Aura shows you which data brokers are selling your information and automatically submits opt-out requests on your behalf. Not only does cleaning up this information reduce the amount of spam that you get, but it will protect you from hackers who could use the information to help them access your social media accounts, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. Aura also helps protect me and my family from online threats by providing antivirus and malware protection, a secure VPN with military-grade encryption, credit monitoring, spam call protection, parental controls, password management, identity theft insurance, and more, without having to download several different apps. It's really easy to set up. And best of all, I get everything at one affordable price. With the family plan, Aura will help you protect your kids by blocking harmful content, managing how much time they can spend online, and providing you with peace of mind while they game with cyberbullying and online predator threat alerts. I value my privacy and my online safety, and I value yours too. So go to aura.com/Melanie Little to start your 2-week free trial, because you can't put a price on peace of mind. I've also put the link in the video description below. You can thank me later. Yay! Yay, Aura! Thank you for sponsoring this video. Thank you, my friends. So if you are watching me, you know that we on Long Island have been dealing with this horrific case of body parts that were found last week, February 29th, by a couple of girls who were walking to high school in Babylon. And the first thing that they came across was a man's left arm that was tattooed. And you may recall that I showed a picture of that arm on the first stream that I did on this case last week. And immediately that stream was stricken and demonetized by YouTube. But you know what? It's okay, because a day or two later, I think it was the next day, and all my armchair detectives at home, you know who you are, that were looking up those tattoos, arrests were made. The Suffolk County Police Department banged down a door in Amityville. Yes, that is the same Amityville that you know from the Amityville horror. Banged the door down with an actual battering ram and arrested 4 individuals in that house. The individuals that were arrested were Steven Brown, age 44, Jeffrey Mackey, age 38, Amanda Wallace, age 40, and Alexis Nieves, age 33. The first 3 that I named lived in that house on Railroad Avenue in Amityville, and it was reported that Alexis Nieves was undomiciled or homeless, but apparently she had been staying with them. It's also been reported, and we have since found out, that Alexis Nieves and Jeffrey Mackey are in a relationship. And I had the opportunity to speak to both of them on Friday when I was in court. Not really speak to them, speak at them. They didn't really speak back to me, but I'm going to show you those videos in a moment. It also appears from the deep dive that we have been doing into the those two that they may have 2 children together. Thank you to Oblivious Benson for falling into the rabbit hole last night as we were going back and forth in the middle of the night on things that we were learning and things that she was surmising about who the victim is. And she was right, because it was confirmed today in court. So today in court appeared the other 2 defendants, Steven Brown, age 44, and Amanda Wallace, age 40. Amanda Wallace, if you recall looking at the footage from the perp walk that we showed, I think during the last stream, Amanda Wallace is the girl with pink hair. And as I said, they were both late for court. They did not show up until 11 or something. Steven Brown's case was called first before Amanda's. He walked into the courtroom. He is a hulking presence, I will say, wearing a green and black Jets hoodie. No cuffs, wasn't escorted in by any court officers or any other police. Walked right through the door of the courtroom where we were all sitting, walked right up into the well, which is the little area where the judge sits and the attorneys sit at their tables. And then there's sort of like a wall, and then there's attorneys and media, and then there were family members. As he walked up the center aisle of the courtroom, there were 3 people sitting directly behind the media, 2 women and a man. And the woman, the older woman of the 2, yelled out, "How could you do this?" Steven Brown appeared in front of the court with his attorney. It was determined that the ankle monitor would remain on. And then he left the courtroom. Amanda Wallace was next called up. Same deal. The conditions that they are out on release, wearing the ankle monitor, they must remain in Suffolk County, and they must report to probation once a week. Those conditions are going to remain in place. Last week, we were nervous because Ray Tierney, who's the district attorney in Suffolk County, whose name you may recognize if you've been following with me the Long Island serial killer case, because that case is happening in the same county, Suffolk County, New York. Ray Tierney said that the ankle monitors may be removed because technically, under the law, wearing an ankle monitor is a condition of custody. And since they had not been yet indicted by the grand jury, they would have had to remove those ankle monitors within something like 120 hours. But luckily, the defense attorneys for all 4 of the defendants agreed to have them remain in the ankle monitors pending the next court date. So Steven Brown and Amanda Wallace are scheduled to come back to court on March 18th, and Alexis Nieves and Jeffrey Mackey are scheduled to come back to court on March 19th. Ray Tierney has said that there's a grand jury, I believe, that is sitting and hearing this case. And unless the charges are upgraded, all 4 of them will remain out on no bail. No bail. Because under New York's bail reform laws, the felonies that these 4 individuals were charged with are considered non-violent felonies. The 4 charges that they are charged with, there are 4 defendants. They're each charged with 3 felonies: hindering prosecution, tampering with physical evidence, and concealment of a human corpse, or dismembering of a human corpse. So apparently you can chop up a body as long as it's dead. And that's New York law. It is not considered a violent felony. What we learned from what we found out were family members who were in the court yelling, "Why did you do it?" Or "How could you?" is what she said. How could you? How could you? We spoke to them outside the courtroom, and the woman identified herself as the sister of one of the victims. And she indicated that her brother's name, the 53-year-old male victim, his name is Malcolm Craig Brown. Malcolm Craig Brown, 53 years old. The news had been reporting that he lived in Yonkers with the female victim. That was their last known address. And she has now been identified by Suffolk County Police as 59-year-old Donna Conneely, but it's spelled Conneely. According to their Facebook profiles, they have been in a relationship and or engaged since August of 2015. I have some pictures here for you because we did a deep dive into this, and I don't know that anyone else is going to be bringing you this information. So let's see. First, what I'm going to show you actually is the video that I took on Friday outside the courthouse of Alexis Nieves. I'm going to just take that back and rewind it. This is Alexis Nieves, her Friday court appearance outside the courthouse. And this is my own personal footage.
Did you chop up body parts? No comment. Talk to my lawyer. Do you know the victim? Talk to my lawyer. Who were the victims? Talk to my lawyer. Does your lawyer know who the victims are? Talk to my lawyer. Did you do it? No comment. Why no comment? No comment.
I don't know if you can hear what the News 12 reporter is saying to her, but she's saying, did you do it? Did you chop up those people? And Alexis here, who's covering her face with her hoodie, is saying, talk to my lawyer, talk to my lawyer, talk to my lawyer. She, in the courtroom, by the way, was wearing, she's trying to hide outside the courtroom, outside the courthouse here, but in the courtroom, she was wearing a leopard print or cougar print tunic and had her hair all done up. So she was not trying to blend in. She was not wearing all black. She was not trying to look incognito when she was in the courtroom. But when she came out of the courthouse, in fact, she hid over, there's 2 entrances to this courthouse. There's the front entrance, which you see in the back of this video right here, which is where you can see a attorney's entrance, the juror's entrance. And then anyone who's coming into court for an appearance has to wait in a long line and go through a metal detector. To the left is a family court exit. She hid over by the family court exit and came out there. Jeffrey, her boyfriend, came out the front door. They were trying to fool the media, obviously, but it didn't work because here we are.
That's from me. You don't have anything you want to say for yourself? No comment.
Why are you hiding your face?
No comment.
Guys, don't do that.
No remorse or shame, Stacy's mom. You're right. None. Zero. Alexis, did they take your monitor off?
Do you want to say anything?
No comment.
Sorry?
No comment.
Did they take off your ankle monitor?
Where will you go now that you're homeless?
No comment.
I don't know if you heard that. Somebody said, where will you go now that you're homeless? And she just kept walking.
Do you know who killed those people?
Unfortunately for them, they took the bus apparently to court, and I caught up with Jeffrey sitting at the bus stop, which was located right in front of the courthouse. He pretended to be asleep. This is Jeffrey Mackey, one of the defendants in the Amityville butcher case, as I'm now calling it. He is the boyfriend and, I believe, father of Alexis Nieves' 2 children. I can take that back because I asked him if they took his ankle monitor off because I did not know if the ankle monitor had been taken off. Monitor? Did they take your ankle monitor off today? Oh, I can see it's still on your ankle, so. What did they tell you? Did they tell you maybe they'll take it off next week? Or next time you come back?
Can you tell us anything about what happened inside the courtroom today? Your reaction to anything?
You been practicing this?
He pretended to be asleep. I don't know if he was nodding off, perhaps, if he was on sedatives. He closed his eyes. He tried to seem like he was counting on his fingers and kind of meditating. But to his credit, he did not get angry. He did not get, he didn't start screaming at the reporters because at the first court appearance that we didn't know about, so I didn't show up in that one, they were apparently being belligerent in the parking lot. I don't know if he was, but some of the other defendants, and they were pushing reporters and they were screaming at reporters and yelling in the parking lot. But he was not getting angry at all. He didn't let anybody get to him. And eventually the reporters just kind of got bored and walked away and just left him there. Do you want to tell your side of the story? I zoomed in on his ankle monitor because I could see it on that ankle right there on his left ankle. So I was happy to know. I felt so much safer knowing that the ankle monitors were staying on and they didn't get cut off. This was again Friday, if you're just joining. Jeffrey Mackey, one of the accused butchers of Amityville, who is charged with 3 felonies, but none of them are considered violent enough to keep him in jail with bail. So all 4 of them were let out with no bail. And that's where we stand today. I'm going to show you some pictures that Oblivious Benson and I found in our deep dive. Except I just disappeared myself. What? I don't even know where I went. What if I swipe myself back this way? Oh, there I am. Yeah, this is a crazy, crazy story. Like crazy. Let's take a look at some of the stuff that we found on our deep dive. It keeps disappearing. Why does it keep disappearing on me? Well, I look for that. Let's take a look. I also took a drive to the house because, of course, I had to take a drive to the house. Wouldn't have been a day without 25 Railroad Avenue in Amityville. This was Friday. I took a ride to the house in Amityville where allegedly the bodies were chopped up. Take a look at this. I'm at 25 Railroad Avenue in Amityville, home of the Amityville Butchers. And there's a flannel shirt on the sidewalk. Doesn't seem to be anybody home. There's a white piece of paper on the door. You can see this is indeed Railroad Avenue because there's the train. And you can hear how loud that train is. So people were saying yesterday on the members only that it was crazy how loud it could be there, that anything could be going on in that house. And some neighbors had told reporters that there were people coming and going from that house 24/7, all day and all night long. So we have no confirmation of what was actually going on inside that house, aside from the chopping up, allegedly, of bodies that were already dead. Thank you, Maureen, so much for sending me a Cash App. I really appreciate that. And also, thank you, El Gray Skews, for your super sticker. I really appreciate that as well. If you are just joining, the two victims in the Amityville butcher case have been identified. The 59-year-old woman is identified as Donna R. Conneely or Conneely. And the 53-year-old man has been identified as Malcolm Craig Brown. It's undetermined what the relationship is between Alexis Nieves and Mr. Brown. She's got a couple of different Facebook profiles. Some of them indicate that it's her dad. Some of her Facebook profiles indicate that she and Jeffrey have 2 children together. So it's right now it's a mystery. But the woman who spoke outside of court identified herself as the sister of the male victim, Malcolm Craig Brown. And she did speak to reporters. And she indicated that the defendant, Steven Brown, was her cousin. So we have some more to learn about the victims, but the evidence that they have, Kate, they've indicated that they recovered during the search warrant that they executed on 25 Railroad Avenue in Amityville is meat cleavers, plural, butcher knives, and a lot of blood evidence. Bo Dombrowski says railroad tracks, perfect sound cover. Yep, it sure is. Now there says cowards covering face. That is pure evil right there. Yes, they are somehow related. They're somehow related. So Steven Brown is a defendant. Steven Brown's cousin was in court today. And she said, as he was walking into the courthouse up to see the judge, she said, "How could you?" She indicated that that is her cousin and that the victim is her brother, Malcolm Craig Brown. He's the 53-year-old man. Outside the courtroom, she also told us that she was angry about bail reform and that she was very mad that this had to do with bail reform. And she was not happy. She said she was going to be there for every single court appearance. She said they grew up together. They were raised together. And she was really angry. I'd like to show you some footage of what happened last week when Ray Tierney was sort of attacked by Kathy Hochul. Kathy Hochul went on Good Day New York, which is our Channel 5 here, with Rosanna Scotto. And she was asked about bail reform by Rosanna Scotto, who brought up the Long Island body parts case. And Kathy Hochul tried to blame it on Ray Tierney. So let's take a look at that footage, because bail reform is at the center of this. And a lot of people are very, very angry about it. This sort of tiff between the two of them started last Thursday. Let's take a look at this.
All right, this morning, a war of words between Governor Hochul and the Suffolk County District Attorney in the case of the dismembered body parts found on Long Island.
Yeah, it all started right here on Good Day New York yesterday with the governor.
And maybe the DA should have done a more thorough investigation and brought murder charges or conspiracy to commit murder or even assault charges, because all of them are bail eligible.
And I think it's irresponsible for people who have no idea what the facts and circumstances of the case are to comment on it.
And that was Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney yesterday at a press conference, and he's kind enough to join us this morning here on Good Day New York in studio. Thank you for joining us again.
Thank you.
All right, well, first of all, just your response.
Well, I think that, all of the sort of back and forth conceals the real issue. The real issue is bail reform, and bail reform has failed, and we need to change the law. We could reform it really quickly by allowing prosecutors to be able to argue the dangerousness of the individual as a factor in keeping them in on bail.
So the governor said maybe you should have filed different charges. She's a lawyer.
Yeah, that was some serious shade that Hochul threw on Tierney. This may not end well.
You're a lawyer. Explain it to those of us that are lay people. Why did you choose the charges that you chose instead of something that would be not eligible for bail?
Sure. Well, first and foremost, we're working with our partners in the Suffolk County Police Department. We know the facts and circumstances. No one else does at this point, because it's an ongoing investigation. But it's not like CSI where everything gets nicely wrapped up in exactly an hour. So you have a situation about 8 days ago, body parts were found in 3 separate locations. And you have to put the case together. You have to build the case. You have obviously blood, DNA, cell site, social media, phone evidence, and you need to synthesize that and put that all together. Now, that takes a while. But what we did have is we did have a probable cause to charge the 3 cases, the 3 charges. We charged them, but unfortunately, because of bail reform, notwithstanding the dangerousness of the situation, we weren't able to keep them
All
in
right,
on
so
bail.
can you, it's legalese gobbledygook to me. What did these 3 people, what are they accused of doing?
So they're
not murder, right?
Yes, they're accused of dismembering the corpses.
So chopping up people who were already murdered?
Chopping up a corpse, which is a dead person, yes.
And concealing it.
And concealing it, and for the purposes of hindering the prosecution of the underlying murder.
And they're out with a monitor around their ankle monitor.
Correct.
Do those ankle monitors work?
They do.
Really?
Yeah.
Listen to what he says next.
Obviously, if they cut it off, they've got a head start on you.
So are they?
Obviously, if they cut it off, they've got a head start on you. That's That's refreshing to hear, right?
Coming back now because you have some new charges. What's going on with them?
Well, two are coming back on Friday. The other two will
Wait,
be
today's Friday.
yeah, today.
Okay.
And then two will come back tomorrow. I'm sorry, Monday. And where our case is, again, it's 8 days old, which is really a young case for a homicide. We're going to continue to work through all of this evidence.
So again, not to prosecute you, but we're sitting here, we're the dummies. We don't understand a lot of the legal part of it. You hear of cases being refiled or categories being changed all the time. Why not start with a more serious charge and then adjust it if you need it to in the future?
Sure, because as a prosecutor, you're ethically required to only charge the cases which you could either establish probable cause for or prove beyond a reasonable doubt. These particular charges are what we can charge now. Again, the investigation is ongoing. We'll continue to work it. And if we can charge additional charges, we will.
Could that happen as soon as today with the two that are in court?
We don't anticipate that happening today.
Okay.
So you were watching Good Day New York yesterday, and you heard what. Don't smile like that. You were watching Good Day New York.
I was watching.
Because somebody from your office called our executive producer moments after the governor basically said, well, basically it was your fault that these guys were let free in Suffolk County, and it was not bail reform. Then afterwards, in the afternoon, you had like 100 Suffolk County executives with you saying it was bail reform. It was a problem. How do people stand in Suffolk County on bail reform? What are you hoping for right now?
Well, listen, we have great support from both our community and our public officials and our law enforcement, and I think we're unanimous in this bail reform is not working, and there are numerous examples. Not only this one, but others where it's just woefully inadequate.
All right, before you go, can we talk a little bit about Gilgo Beach? What's going on with Mr. Yorman?
Okay, so they asked me a little
Any
bit about
charges
Gilgo
coming-
Beach, but we're not here to talk about that today, but we will talk about that again very soon. But right now, what we want to talk about is the defendants and the victims. So here's an interesting little thing that we found on Facebook. So Alexis Nieves has a number of Facebook profiles. One of them is Alexis Nieves, which, as you can see here. And I blurred out the pictures, the faces of the children. But what she does say here, let me just get this comment off. Apple and pumpkin picking 2022, 9 years later and 2 kids, and I could not ask for a better partner in life. You are an amazing father, Jeff, and I love you so, so much. You can see here, this is Jeff, and this is Alexis. So apparently they do have 2 children together. What we also found was a picture of Alexis. She's also got a profile, by the way, and she also goes by Alexis Brown, which I found interesting. So I'm not sure if she's somehow related to Steven Brown, which would make her somehow also related to the victim, Malcolm Craig Brown, because there is a picture of them together with the children. Here's a picture of the victims, and we know that because they're on each other's Facebook profile pictures. That is 53-year-old Malcolm Craig Brown, and his girlfriend or domestic partner or fiance since 2015, Donna Conneely. There's another picture of Alexis and her children from March of 2023. I don't know what I did, but I was given the best 2 kids a mom could ask for. I love you. And then she put their names, which I blurred out for you. Okay, here's the picture I've been looking for. Here is a picture of one of the victims with Alexis's children. And I want you to play my thing over there thought I was talking to it, but I am not. I want you to pay special attention to his left hand. Which I'm going to show you an enlargement of, because if you were here with me last week, you know what is on that hand. And that, my friends, is the tattoo on the hand that we thought either said Sandy or Sandra. And it's okay that YouTube demonetized it, because you may have been the ones who may have called in a tip to Suffolk County PD. So thank you, my friends, for being the amazing and incredible armchair detectives that you are. Boom. There it is. And to Oblivious Benson for her being my personal Penelope Garcia, as always, and starting this chain with me last night, which was then able to be confirmed today in court by the victim's sister, who appeared in court with 2 other people. Here is Jeffrey Mackey's Facebook picture, so you know what he looks like. Social media is out there, you guys. It's as you know from a lot of these cases that we're following, electronic evidence does not go away. It's out there. He was the one who I was talking to who was sitting in the bus stop. An actual bus stop person, as we, the Maya trial coined that phrase, you may recall. Somebody said he looks like De Niro. So I'm not sure of the relationship between Alexis Nieves and Malcolm Craig Brown, or Craig Brown. He's got different profiles on Facebook. Some say Craig Brown, some say Malcolm Brown, some say Malcolm Craig Brown. But he's in that picture on Halloween with her children. And she also has a profile that says Alexis Brown. But apparently those are her children with Jeffrey Mackey. And apparently, somehow, Steven Brown may be related to her. Steven Brown is definitely related to one of the victims. So there's a lot more to be sorted out here. But in the meantime, everyone on Suffolk County can sleep peacefully knowing that these 4 are out on no bail with ankle monitors, and maybe they'll come back to court March 18th and March 19th. Maybe not. I guess we'll have to tune back in to see that. Hey, Mozzie. Thank you so much for your super chat. How do you give bail to a homeless criminal? Just wow. Well, I also heard some rumblings that since the home that they were in on Railroad Avenue in Amityville is uninhabitable, somebody, I don't know if it's the county, may be paying for a hotel for them. I just don't know. I don't know. Patriot, thank you. I'd love to hear what Judge Janine thinks of this happening in her state. Collab, perhaps? I would love to collab with Judge Janine. I think she's a fireball. I would love to. Does anybody know her? Anybody have a direct line? Call her. Call me. Peter Pranzo, retired NYPD and one of my amazing moderators. I do have the best moderators on YouTube, by the way. A new bill was just put in Supreme Court to include body mutilation bail. So you're saying, yeah, there were some local politicians who last week were talking about that. Or are you saying that the grand jury has indicted them with a true bill and that they've included new charges? I'm not sure what you're saying there, but let's take a look at that footage if I can find that for you. I need a producer. I need a producer. Do, 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 do. Okay, this aired last week. This is from Channel 11, Eyewitness News.
As the 4 people charged with hacking bodies into pieces scurried out of Suffolk County Court Wednesday, questions were quickly raised about why they were allowed to walk out with no bail being set, just ankle monitoring.
This is not rational. This is not a law that was passed in the interest of public safety.
Law enforcement leaders and Republican lawmakers have been longtime critics of New York's bail reform law, which has been tweaked several times. In this case, prosecutors and the judge agreed bail was not allowed because the only charges were technically non-violent offenses related to the desecrating of a man and a woman in their 50s. The district attorney has yet to charge a violent crime like murder.
You have to think that perhaps we've gone a little bit too far with bail reform.
But defenders of bail reform, including Governor Kathy Hochul and Senate Democrats, say this has nothing to do with the law. A spokesman saying, quote, "It's deeply concerning that these people are not in jail because the DA undercharged them when he clearly could have charged them with bailable offenses. Prior to our bail reforms, these charges rarely resulted in bail being set."
We are one of the most aggressive DA's offices in the state. But beyond that, it's a smokescreen.
Late Thursday, the district attorney fired back, saying police are conducting a proper and thorough investigation, and judges should be allowed to consider a, quote, dangerousness standard when it comes to bail.
They wrote this woefully inadequate law. They need to fix it.
In practical terms, Democrats control the entirety of state government, and Assembly Speaker Pro Tem Jeffrey Aubrey of Queens says more tweaks to bail reform are not on the table right now.
Every time something goes wrong, they think that the tweak is required, never mind why it went wrong. And so, you know, from our perspective, it served the purpose. Your bail is only to ensure you come back for trial.
As for this investigation that has really been front of mind for everyone out here on Long Island, 2 of the defendants back in court tomorrow. The district attorney wouldn't even say what would happen during that court appearance or if we would indeed at that point see some murder charges.
All right, this morning, a war of words between Governor Hochul
Okay,
and
that's
the
going to
Suffolk County
autoplay to
District.
the piece that we already saw, so we'll get away from that. And I'm going to play for you some footage that was of the family outside the courthouse today. Better footage than the footage I got because I was standing behind a whole bunch of really tall cameramen. And there's that. So let's take a look at News 12. This just broke for them at 5 o'clock. So they just put it on at 5 o'clock, I should say.
And breaking tonight, for the first time, we are learning the identity of the victims whose bodies were hacked and scattered in Nassau and Suffolk. We have team coverage tonight, beginning with News 12's crime reporter, Conneely, who was in court and has new information.
Want justice for our brother, Malcolm Craig Brown.
People who say they are the siblings of Malcolm Craig Brown tell us he is one of the victims whose remains were dumped in various locations on Long Island. Police haven't confirmed that Brown was one of the victims, but today they did identify the female victim in this case as Donna Conneely, whose last known address is in Yonkers.
This is such a heinous crime.
We've lost a brother. Steven Brown is our cousin. And our parents and his mom, my aunt, they're home, they're suffering, they're hurting.
The family of Malcolm Craig Brown says he was related to one of the people charged in this case, Steven Brown, who was in court today. One of the people who say they are a family member of the male victim in court said to Brown, "How could you?"
Because we were all raised together. You know, we're a family. Or at least I thought we were a family.
Suspect Amanda Wallace was also in court today. She and Brown are accused of hacking and scattering the human remains.
Did you kill your cousin?
Brown and Wallace would not answer any questions leaving court.
No comment.
Like the other suspects in this case, Jeffrey Mackey and Alexis Nieves, Wallace and Brown remain free without bail, and their GPS monitors will stay on. All are facing charges of hindering prosecution, tampering with evidence, and concealment of a human corpse. No one is being charged with murder at this time.
It's absurd that 4 people can murder 2 people and just get to walk out like that.
Brown's family members are begging for answers.
He's got to tell his story so we can move on.
In Central Islip, Krista McNally, News 12.
So there hasn't been an official ID by Suffolk County PD on the mail. And the reason that they were saying there was no ID yet is because they hadn't notified the family, but the family's there saying who it is. So I don't know. I'm a little bit puzzled by that. Austin says, who's the big guy in the Jets hoodie? That is Defendant Steven Brown, who's accused of chopping up bodies of his relative, for one, Malcolm Craig Brown, and perhaps it may or may not be the female victim. Well, they've identified the female victim. They're positively identifying her as Donna Conneely, Conneely. And according to their Facebook status, they've been together since 2015, living together in Yonkers. 7, sorry if this has been asked, but do they have people in custody? They have 4 people in custody, but they are in custody on 3 nonviolent felonies, so they are out on bail. No bail. They're out on no bail with ankle monitors. They're required to stay in Suffolk County and required to report to a probation officer once a week. Again, the 4 defendants are Steven Brown, age 44 of Amityville, Jeffrey Mackey, age 44 of Amityville, Amanda Wallace, age 40 of Amityville. They all lived at the same address on Railroad Avenue. You can rewind if you didn't see it earlier. I took some footage. I went by the house and took some footage. And 33-year-old Alexis Nieves, who they were saying is homeless or undomiciled, but was staying with the other 3 at the Railroad Avenue address. It also appears that she has 2 children with Jeffrey Mackey and that they are still together. So we have no idea what the motive is, but we can identify the 2 victims now. And this is, prayers up for the victims and their families. You saw how distraught Malcolm Craig Brown's sister is. Incredibly disturbed. Yes, DJ, yes, apparently it's nonviolent if it's not alive. And hopefully that's something that they're going to change, because it's outrageous. It's outrageous. The first body part was found by 3 high school girls who were walking to Babylon High School in a bush. They found a left arm of a man in a bush on Siegel Boulevard in Babylon, which abuts Southard's Pond Park. The girl called her dad because she didn't know if it was fake or real. Her dad came, confirmed it was real, called Suffolk County PD. They came down, and 20 feet into the woods, they found the other arm of the male. That same day, about a mile away on the other side of the park, the west side of the park, they found some female remains, parts of legs, an arm, and a severed head. Those parts were found close to nearby Babylon Elementary School. And they were doing a search with cadaver dogs and police officers. And the teachers at Babylon Elementary School were asked to please discreetly close your blinds so that the children are not distracted by the police search going on outside the windows. So this whole entire thing is horrifying. We didn't know if here on Long Island we had another serial killer. We didn't know if this was gang related or MS-13 related or cartel related. And we still don't know. We're not getting a lot of answers, but at least today they've identified the victims. And we know that much. I don't know. Lauren says, I've seen the arm pic, but are there other pictures? Nothing that's been released to the public. So there's nothing that I can verify for you. They did say that remains were not very old. So the remains were found on February 29th. And the date of the charges that these 4 people were charged with were February 27th. So it's believed, I believe, that their crime, and they're not, remember, nobody here is charged with murder. They're charged with tampering of evidence, mutilation of a corpse, disposing of a corpse. The things that they did were allegedly occurred on February 27th. If the charges are not upgraded to something like murder or assault or some violent felony, they will continue to remain out of jail with no bail. So yes, please hit the like button. It helps the algorithm and all that. Yep, that's right, Nurse Corky. Just close the blinds. That's all. Just close the blinds. So these children are going to be terrified and have PTSD probably for the rest of their lives, especially the ones who found the arm. And it's scary. Hi, Dawn Marie. Southers Pond is within walking distance to my house. I go there all the time and walk my dog. This is wild. Yeah, walk your dogs. A lot of people, people who walk their dogs are often the people to find dogs and joggers, right? Unfortunately, this time it was a couple of high school girls who will not anytime soon get over this. Hi, Paul. Thanks, Diane. This is a wake-up call to clean up Babylon and surrounding Amityville. Yeah, is it a wake-up call? I think so. Right, Tiff Knox. How did the people get dead? We don't know. We don't know. I think they're running toxicology on the tissue. Some people have hypothesized that perhaps it was an OD and they didn't know what to do. But now that we're finding out that they're related and there seems to be pictures of them together, this whole thing is, what say you? What say you, my friends? What say you? E-baby, this is so sick how people can cut up bodies and get bail. Yep. Right. Never walking any dogs, says Marzi. Can't they be charged with suspicion of murder? No, the DA can only really charge them with crimes that he knows that he can prove. Otherwise, that would be inappropriate for a DA to do that. And he's right about that. He has said, I think there's a grand jury hearing this case right now. And if a grand jury, you know what they say in New York, a grand jury can indict a ham sandwich, as Saul Wackler famously said, who was the chief judge here many, many years ago. Hopefully, they'll be indicted on some other charges. And we can feel a little bit safer here on Long Island. Brooklyn Paizola, they will figure out as much as they can. They can identify if a bullet enters a certain area or if there are stab wounds to the vascular system, not the dismemberment, and cause the death. Oh, you're saying in case there was another cause of death, like perhaps a shooting or a stabbing. Yeah. Trace says I'm late, but the DA, Ray Tierney, is an arrogant. Yeah, it is weird, Tiff. I don't know. Hello, Helen the Scottish Llama. Hello to Scotland. This is an international story. I was talking while I was sitting waiting to go into the courtroom. I was talking to a reporter from Newsday and her cameraman, who happened to be the pool photographer at Rex Heuermann's appearance that I went to when Rex Heuermann, the accused Long Island serial killer, because innocent until proven guilty, looked straight at me, and I had a very chilling experience. He was the pool photographer. She was with Newsday, and she asked me if I represented any of the defendants, and I said no. I have a YouTube channel, and I have 30 years experience as a trial lawyer in New York and here on Long Island, and so we started talking about it, and this whole thing is going to turn into a whole big bail reform thing. So we're going to see. I mean, Newsday is on it. That's Long Island's newspaper. That's the newspaper that's been here for, I don't even know how long, you guys, like, I don't know, 40 years at least, 50 years. So they're working on something. Yeah, Douglas says that's why people are moving out of state. A lot of people are leaving New York in droves. They are leaving New York and they're going south. Hey, Diane, thanks for gifting 5 memberships. That is so awesome and really nice of you. If you need to, in order to get a gifted membership, you need to be participating in chat. You need to have it enabled somehow on your phone, and YouTube distributes them randomly. I do not have any control over who gets them, but thank you, Diane. That was super, super generous of you. And while you're all here, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, it really helps that YouTube algorithm. Peter Pranzo says Suffolk County PD wants and needs to get this right. If they are the killers, they will be charged. Yes. And we had some discussion the other day, Peter, that perhaps Ray Tierney wants to run for governor. Maybe that's why he's starting some beef with Kathy Hochul right now, because he wants to run for governor. So he needs this case to go right, as well as the Long Island serial killer case to go right. So yeah, let's hope. Steel Strings, when I mentioned the ham sandwich, realized that he or she has not yet eaten lunch. Angela Eric Newman says, my suspicion is that there was a family dispute that got heated while the train was going by and no one knew anything happened. I doubt there's anything grander involved with gangs or something else. We don't know. We've had a lot of MS-13 activity here on the island, and one of their modes, favorite things is machetes. So there have been a lot of those types of crimes here. So I think that's why initially media went there. But I don't know. We'd have no confirmation of that. Yeah, Ed says, I think the main issue here is they have no proof of anything, not even the mutilation. But they do have proof of the mutilation because they found meat cleavers, butcher knives, and all kinds of blood evidence in that house. And they removed a lot of the plumbing because a lot of the blood evidence was in the pipes, in the drains. And so I think they've got evidence of that. I think they just don't have evidence of how these 2 individuals actually died and whether these folks were responsible for that. Nitty gritty. Kids will be traumatized or become true crime folks like us. Yeah. That's what I say. Thank you very much, Chief Shenanigation Officer, for coming in late, but really enjoying my coverage. I thank you for that so much, because without you guys, I wouldn't have a channel. I have the best moderators on YouTube. They keep the chat classy. That's what we do here. We like to keep it classy. I don't do the cursey words. I don't do foul language. We don't tolerate personal attacks. So this is a channel that you can watch with your 95-year-old mother and get true crime content that way, as some of my viewers have pointed out to me. And I love that here. And this is a really friendly group. So introduce yourself in the chat if you like what you're seeing here and you want to stick around. Let's take a look and see if anybody else here is reporting identities of the victims. Channel 7. Well, here's some more coverage from Channel 7. So let's see what they have to say. Everybody reports it just a little bit differently, so it's good to watch what different stations are saying, I find.
We are hearing for the first time from the siblings of one of the 2 people found dismembered, their body parts strewn across a park on Long Island. Those siblings say one of the suspects, Steven Brown, who was in court today, is also their cousin. And after a judge said he can remain free under GPS monitoring, those family members call that decision absurd. Long Island reporter Shantae Lands, live in Central Islip. Shantae?
Sandra, Malcolm Craig Brown is the name of the man killed, and today his relatives, as you just mentioned, his siblings, came to this courthouse to ask their own relative why.
With their heads tucked low,
their faces hidden. 44-year-old Steven Brown and 40-year-old Amanda Wallace, hiding underneath her black hoodie, returned to criminal court in Central Islip after being charged with 2 others with tampering with evidence and concealing a human corpse. This is in connection to the body parts belonging to 2 people found scattered across Long Island.
I just felt like he looked right through me.
Corrine Bullock is talking about her cousin, Defendant Steven Brown. She says Brown is cousins with the victim, who is her younger brother, 53-year-old Malcolm Craig Brown, whose severed arm with a tattoo was found at Southard's Pond Park.
He was our baby brother. He was not perfect, but nobody deserves murder like this. And his cousin has something to do with it.
The victim's siblings, Corrine Bullock and Charles Williams, were visibly upset in court. What made you get so emotional?
The bail reform. It's absurd that 4 people can murder 2 people and just get to walk out like that.
Williams shouting in court to his cousin, Steven Brown, to do the right thing.
We have parents. We've lost a brother. Steven Brown is our cousin. And our parents and his mom, my aunt, they're home, they're suffering, they're hurting. And he has nothing to say.
Steven Brown said nothing to cameras. We asked his attorney outside about the cousin connection between his client and the victim.
There's nothing I can further add at this time. I'll have further discussions with the DA's office, hopefully get some evidence. That would be nice to see what exactly they claim my client did.
A devastated family, originally from Yonkers, now searching for answers from their own relative on Long Island.
He's got to do something. He's got to tell it, good or bad or otherwise. He's got to tell his story so we can move on.
And Steven Brown and Amanda Wallace are due back in court next Monday. They're ordered to continue wearing those GPS monitoring bracelets. The other 2 defendants will return to this courthouse the next day on Tuesday. Live in Central Islip, Shantae Lands, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
The whole thing.
Crazy, right? Absolutely crazy. And they were there and they were in the courtroom and they wanted to talk. And she shouted out as Steven Brown walked up to center aisle, wait, I want to get it right because I wrote it down. How could you? How could you? Prayers up for the family of the victims. Malcolm Craig Brown, and Suffolk County Police has identified the other victim as Donna Conneely. Apparently they've been together since 2015. Patricia Siebold, thank you so much for Miss Melanie. Please be careful out super sleuthing. I got concerned when you were talking to Bus Stop Butcher. Stay safe. Yeah. I was surrounded by so many really big guys with really big cameras that I felt okay. And also, I told you guys when I met Rex Heuermann, or when he looked at me in the eye when I was in court with him, and it was really chilling. Like the vibe was just really chilling. This guy, Jeffrey Mackey, I got to say, he didn't give off a vibe like that at all. So I don't know what his involvement with this was, but he did not seem as angry and aggressive and dangerous as his girlfriend did. I'll tell you that much. Alexis seemed a lot more dangerous than he did. Scott says they took the plumbing out of the house. I'd say that's proof. Yeah, I'm thinking so too. I'm thinking they have a lot of proof. They just don't know about the actual killing. Pilola's mom. How did they get a tip that it was that house that those people were involved? We don't know that yet either. Law enforcement here is keeping a lot close to the vest in this investigation. But what we do know is that initial reports said that they thought there was a car involved with the disposing of the parts. And because 1 or 2 of the areas at Southard's Pond Park were in residential neighborhoods, they may have been able to obtain some security cam footage from residents, some Ring doorbell footage. Maybe they got a plate. Maybe that's how they were able to track down a car that may have been registered to that address. And, my other question is, how did they know to go over to Bethpage State Park, which is where I believe they found a torso, over where Bethpage Black Golf Course is. How did they know? You know, was that after they questioned some people in the house? So I don't know. I do not know, but we know that of 2 victims right now. We know of 2 victims right now. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, Lynn, thank you for gifting memberships again. Wait, did you gift them earlier too? Or am I just far back in the, no, it was Diane who gifted them before. Thank you so much, Caitlin, for gifting Attorney 5 memberships. That is amazing. And you are always so very generous to this channel. I appreciate you so much. Marlene has been a member for 1 month. Congratulations, Marlene. Cheryl, thank you for being an amazing moderator and also for being a member for 4 months and for thanking me for covering this. Prayers to the victims and their families. Joanne Byer also gifted 5 memberships. So congratulations to everyone who's getting memberships today. There's been a lot of gifting so far. At least 15 people have been gifted memberships. I think you're going to like it here. We have a lot of fun here. Yesterday we had a members only live, so that was a lot of fun for those of you who were able to make it yesterday. I know there was a lot of stuff happening yesterday. P. Lola's mom, thank you. How are the suspects found out so quick? I think that is the one that we just talked about, right? They were identified rather quickly, within a day or 2 of this story breaking. So we were very happy to find out that at least 4 people have been arrested so far. We just don't know who actually was responsible for the actual killing part of it. And that's crazy. Oh, Elena got one, got a membership. Congratulations, honey. And Rochella loved that members only live, and I hope you are feeling better, Rochella, from your surgery. El Detective San Juan's day one, El Detective the one says that I'm a more attractive Cameron Diaz. That's really very sweet of you. Thanks. I have to highlight that because that's the nicest compliment I've had all day. So thank you so much for that. Vicky, this is crazy. How can they not be in jail? Because none of the felonies they were charged with happen to be violent felonies. Welcome to New York, my friends. As Taylor Swift would say, welcome to New York, where you can dismember a body, and as long as it's not alive, it's not a violent crime. Just Chrissy the Crown, grateful for my coverage. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Patriot says, the generous people here are awesome, so kind. And yes, the members only stream was great. Cannot wait for the members only makeup stream. Oh, yeah, you guys want me to do a makeup stream? That is very funny. And Susan says, your show is always so classy and informative. Thanks for all you do. Thank you for thanking me. Thank you for watching. Love this community. I love it too, Austin. Thank you so much. How did they scatter the parts? We don't know. We think there was a car involved. So I think that's how they found them. I don't know. I can't confirm that yet. I don't know, but children found them. And that's very disturbing to the people on Long Island who, I don't know how safe people feel. If you're from Long Island, could you please wave in the chat and tell me if you're feeling safer knowing that these 4 monsters, or Amityville butchers, as I'm calling them, are out on the streets? What say you, my Long Island friends? What say you? Feeling good? Yeah, we do. We're going to need a chart, Gabrielle, to see how everyone's related or connected. I'll be working on that. Don't know Steel Strings if they've seized any vehicles yet. Don't know. Don't know. They haven't said much. They're being really tight-lipped. Yes, Nancy, mutilation of a corpse only requires a bracelet. And please check in with probation once a week and remain in Suffolk County and come back to court next time. So here's what we know. We know that the 2 victims so far, Malcolm Craig Brown, 53, of Yonkers, and Donna R. Conneely, 59, of Yonkers. Apparently, they were together since 2015, according to my research. The 4 that were arrested are Steven Brown, who somehow was related to Malcolm Craig Brown, 44, Jeffrey Mackey, 38, Amanda Wallace, 40, and Alexis Nieves, 33. Alexis and Jeffrey, who are a couple, are due back in court March 19th. Stephen and Amanda, who I'm not sure if they are a couple, are due back in court on March 18th. I don't know why they're not having them all come back on the same day. It's all the same case. So I'm curious as to why they're doing them 2 and 2. But that's how they're doing it here in Suffolk County. And that is what I've got for you today, my friends. If you have not already or have not seen them, I've done 2 prior streams on this case, at least. So you can go back and watch them for all of the coverage since the beginning. Hi, Nikki. You can rewind this video when it's over and you can see the video of me talking to Mackey. He was sitting at the bus stop outside the courthouse. Apparently he and Alexis took the bus to court. And unfortunately for them, the bus stop or the little bus shelter is directly in front of the courthouse, in the parking lot of the courthouse. And after she ran away from reporters, I've got video of both of them. She did join him eventually to take the bus home. So it was crazy. Hi, Sarah Adams. Nice to see you. Thanks for the super chat. I've missed you. It's been a CRPS winter. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. All my chronic pain warriors who had started covering me during the Maya case. I'm sorry, very sorry to hear that. Thank you again to my moderators. You guys are amazing and you keep the chat classy. I will continue to keep you updated on this story as it breaks. I was in court today. I was in court on Friday on this. There just wasn't enough to report about on Friday to bring it to you yet. So today we know the charges have not yet been upgraded. There have been no indictments yet by the grand jury on these 4 people who are currently out of jail, but required to remain in Suffolk County. So stay safe out there, my friends. Thank you to all my members, my replay viewers, and my current viewers. If you wouldn't mind just hitting the like button, hit the subscribe button too while you're here. It's free. It's free. And if you hit the bell, you'll get notified when I go live. Just make sure that you enable notifications on your phone so that you will get them. And I will see you guys again real soon. Remember, be cool, be kind, be classy. It is not hard. It is so not hard. Peace, my friends. Stay safe out there.